If there's one thing Brad Treliving has built his reputation on, it's his ability to sign his restricted free agents to fair but team-friendly deals. Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, and Elias Lindholm are a few examples. But the Flames GM will have his hands full this summer re-signing Matthew Tkachuk, who is coming off a career 34-goal, 77-point campaign. And the fact that Tkachuk is among an unprecedentedly strong and big RFA class only complicates matters.
That's been talked about kind of a lot this year, whether, no matter who's playing well out of the restricted class or whatever, it seems like every time somebody's playing well, they somehow talk about everybody else in the class too. So, it was hard to avoid questions like that this year. You don't want to talk about it, but, when you're watching TV or whatever, you're hearing stuff. And obviously that time's come now where, season's over, so now you can start thinking about it more and trying to figure something out. But there's a lot of us, so it's going to be hard.
There's certainly some things that you move from negotiation to negotiation, some of your principles that you use, but each negotiation's, in and of itself and has its own timeline. And what I have found with these things they usually move at glacier pace. We want to do what's right by Matthew. We've got 23 mouths to feed.
My dad's going to be very important, obviously, in this. He's gone through it a lot. Somebody I can definitely lean on, because I've never been through this experience before. So yeah, he'll be very influential in this whole decision and make a big impact too. And he knows how these things go, so be a calming influence as well.
Matthew's dad, Keith Tkachuk, is no stranger to tough contract negotiations. He went through a couple of difficult situations with the Coyotes franchise during his playing days. Johnny Gaudreau's advice: get it done early. He found the process to be tough on him and his family when he went through a similar situation just 2 years ago. Jermaine Franklin, TSN, Calgary.
Gaudreau and Monahan are both making well over $6 million a season. They still got a couple years left to go on their deals. Tkachuk is coming off an entry-level contract where he only got $925,000. You were formerly in management in this league. Where do you see him landing?
Well, it's funny, he says watching TV and reading about this stuff. He's going to be watching TV and reading about this because it's a hot topic in Calgary. I see him falling percentage-wise, Gino, between these two guys. That's what I think is a really fair place. And percentage of the cap, where the cap is when these contracts are signed. Now, Monahan and Gaudreau's contracts were signed 3 years ago. At the same time, one centerman, one winger who drives the play. So Gaudreau takes a little more money and a little more percentage, but one less year. Monahan takes the security of a 7-year deal, a little less money. So I think Tkachuk is right between these guys. If he goes at 9% of the upcoming projected $83 million cap, that puts him about $7.5 million. So the money is greater, but it was signed 3 years later. So this is an unbelievable part of the business. It's becoming so significant and how you manage and handle it. But Brad Treliving has a good group with him. And I think if I'm standing looking from the outside, that's where he fits, and I'm sure they'll come to a decision somewhere around that.
You've been a player, you've been a coach, you've been a GM, and maybe you're going to be an agent because
that's the hard part of the business.
Forget
That's
it?
the hard part.
No to that. Okay, I get it.